everybody. Craig DeLuz from FPC, once again here live at the Gun Rights Policy Conference 2016. I'm here with Alexander Roubian of the New Jersey Second Amendment Society. We're going to talk about guns and gun rights and civil rights in New Jersey. Now, before we went on live, I had a chance to ask you, where would you put New Jersey in the kind of the realm of civil rights or Second Amendment rights?
I'd put him dead last. We actually border Manhattan, New York State. We know people that actually have concealed carry permits in Manhattan that live in New Jersey and are still denied in their home state to be able to exercise that right and being denied a concealed carry permit. For me, that's the ultimate test where things rank in regard to Second Amendment and civil rights.
Well, so in New York City, one of the most anti-gun cities, anti-civil rights cities in the entire country, they have a concealed carry permit there, but not in the state of New Jersey.
They're business owners in New York City, they're jewelers, they deal with large amounts of cash, they're rent collectors, whatever the case is, and they are still denied in their own home state to be able to get a concealed carry permit.
Okay, well, where would you say, and then just kind of go back, we talked a little bit about, Governor Chris Christie and he ran for president. There's a lot of conflicting information out there about where he stands on the Second Amendment. Would love to have your input as someone who's had to kind of deal with him directly.
Well, I think the ultimate test, finding out where you stand on Second Amendment issues, because we get inundated from politicians or aspiring politicians on being staunch supporters of the Second Amendment. But when I ask them, all right, cool, what kind of guns do you shoot? Where are you a member? Where are you a member? What range are you a member of? And they say, well, I've never shot or this and that. I think that's an ultimate reflection. Governor Christie, he's done incredible things for us. He's definitely shifted in the right direction. I believe personally that he could have done a lot of other things. However, he hasn't listened to us, and still things are as bad as they were prior to him becoming governor.
What are some of the challenges that you're facing currently right now in New Jersey when it comes to Second Amendment civil rights?
Well, the biggest challenge is people being actively denied their ability to exercise that right by having police departments and government agents not processing applications. Now, in free states where people don't have to go through this bureaucratic and ridiculous draconian process that was implemented in 1966 and still used today, you have to go to the police department, pick up an application, then you have to fill out the application, you have to put your references down, you have to put your employer down, then you have to return the application, sign it in front of a police officer, where then they take anywhere from 3 months to people have waited several years for their permits to actually be quote-unquote processed. And when we look into it, they always say the same thing. It's on the chief's desk, we're waiting for his signature. Some towns, like the town that I worked in, or I lived in, they processed it within 30 days. But people that don't live in quote-unquote Second Amendment-friendly towns or cities, the chiefs actively deny people their ability to protect themselves. We did an undercover investigation on this and found that police officers were actually telling people, oh, you're a woman, you're 90 pounds, you're too small to be a gun owner, I'm not going to even let you apply. And this wasn't fear-mongering, this wasn't anything being fabricated, these weren't any types of myths. We actually documented it.
So individuals who actually
need it.
So you're talking about, you may only be 90 pounds, but a firearm is the great equalizer.
Exactly.
No matter if you're 300 pounds or you're 90 pounds, you have the opportunity to defend yourself with a firearm.
Exactly.
You're equal with anybody.
And if you know the story of Carol Bound, who was that exact circumstance, she was 4'11", 5 foot, 85, 90 pounds, and she should have been the first person to be able to exercise and protect herself. But the city or the town that she lived in took their time with the application, and on the 45th day, she was murdered by the same exact man that she wanted to protect herself against. And it wasn't a gun that was being used, she was stabbed to death. So now we actually captured police departments actively denying petite women because they're too small to even, not the ability to apply, just to even apply, even to hand in the paperwork. And on the same undercover investigation, he was boasting that he denied a senior citizen because she was too old to own a gun. So this is the problem with having individuals being the gatekeepers on if you can exercise your right or not. It just opens up the door for people giving their personal opinion.
Well, exactly. In many cases, there's a subjectivity.
Exactly.
And that subjectivity is not always based on fact.
Exactly.
It's not always based on whether ultimately what it comes down to is that we're not talking about a privilege, we're talking about a right, the right
Exactly.
to bear arms. And you have individuals who are using their own personal subjectivity to determine whether or not you or me should have access to our right, which is codified in our Constitution.
Exactly. It was even more disheartening that the police officer was an African American, which no more than 40, 50, 60 years ago, these people were not even allowed to drink from the same water fountain, based to subjectivity and based to bigotry. And now we have a person, an African American, denying a small women because he thinks they're too small, senior citizen women because he thinks they're too old, and even said, I think 21-year-olds are not responsible enough to own handguns, so I'm not going to even let you apply for a handgun. Even crazier was the undercover person that we sent in was actually handicapped. So he actively denied this person, saying, you know what, don't even waste your time applying because you're handicapped and I think you have a disability that's going to disqualify you from safely operating a firearm. Meanwhile, he's been a firearm for 25 years and never had an issue. We've documented this, we put it out there, it's on nj2as.org, that people can watch, because for years we've had to live with this craziness that no one believed us about. And that's the message what we have to get out nationally, because when they're saying we need New Jersey style gun laws that are quote unquote common sense, that's what they're talking about. We're not fabricating things. We don't have to speculate on what they would potentially do. We know what they're going to do, and they're going to make the rest of free America into what New Jersey is now.
So, how do folks in New Jersey who want to support your organization, or just individuals from around the country who want to support you and find out what's going on, how do they contact you?
You can visit us on NJ, like New Jersey, the number 2, as.org. And we have hundreds of members actually throughout the nation, which is very motivating for us because people understand that what happens in New Jersey doesn't stay in New Jersey, and we have to change the narrative from look what they did in New Jersey and got away with to look what they tried in New Jersey and it failed and these politicians lost their jobs and so forth.
Fantastic. For states like New Jersey or California, these states are on the front lines in the fight for civil rights.
Exactly.
And it's important for those of you who are watching from Nebraska, from Idaho, from Texas or Arizona who think, gosh, I'm glad I don't live in New Jersey.
Yes, yeah.
Let me tell you something. If you don't help them fight, if you don't help folks like the Firearms Policy Coalition in California or in Oregon or in Washington, if you don't help those folks fight, trust me, the fight will eventually be coming to you and coming to your state. So want to encourage you, support the New Jersey Second Amendment Society, support Firearms Policy Coalition, those who are serving on the front lines for civil rights. Once again, I'm Craig DeLuz coming at you from the Gun Rights Policy Conference 2016. We'll be back with some more neat interviews. If you like these updates, please share them with your friends and subscribe to our YouTube channel.